Today, we're going to finish up that leather knife, so stick around. What's up everybody, welcome back. Or if you're new to the channel and it's your first time here, thanks for clicking. Also, if you're into this type of content and you like what you see, consider subscribing. I'm putting out new videos each Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks again for being here. Enjoy the rest of the video. Now I know a lot of you are already saying to yourself, there's no way he's going to be able to heat treat that thing with that puny torch. Well, I'm here to tell you, you're absolutely right. But I figured I'd give it a shot anyway. The weather around here has been horrible, and with my forge being outside, I had no other way to get out there and do a proper heat treat like I wanted. I know it can be done, and in fact I've seen it done before, but it can be a bit tricky at best. In the end, I failed miserably. What can I say? You live, you learn. So I had no other choice but to wait for the weather to get better and get outside and do a proper soak in the fire. Now, although the weather was a bit better, it was still a little too nasty for me to lug out all that camera gear. The only footage I got was some B-roll that I posted on my Instagram account. Links to all my socials will be down below if you're interested. So after the heat treating and tempering, I brought it back inside and began to work on the finish. I started off with a bastard file and went to town on the edge, shoring everything up and knocking off all that nasty scale. One thing I do after the file is I wrap some coarse grit sandpaper around the file I was just using and work my way up through the grits. The file gives a solid flat back for the sandpaper, which helps prevent uneven pressure and rolling. Also, the wide grip allows for better control. At least it works out that way for me. Your mileage and process may vary. Also, before I forget, all the supplies and tools I use in today's video are going to be listed and linked down below, so feel free to check those out. They are affiliate links, of course, and a great way to help out the channel without spending a penny extra.
Did you just see that?
The clamping system I use is awesome. It's simple, basic, portable, and does the job great at holding down the work. I'm going to link the clamp down below as well. They're cheap enough and worth grabbing a few to have around. I've got about 3 or 4 extra ones in my toolbox now. Once I'm done with the clamp, I move on to the glass. Now, keep in mind, this is not ordinary glass. This is an old cutting board, perfectly flat and smooth as can be on the bottom. I spray on a bit of adhesive, slap on some wet or dry sandpaper, and get a perfect surface for finishing, well, the finish. Now, there's no escaping good old-fashioned elbow grease here. I know you can use a belt grinder in this process, and in fact I do too, but I prefer to do much of the work by hand. I'm not going to be as aggressive as the grinder, and I won't generate all that unwanted heat as well. Again, it's all a matter of feeling like I'm in more control than I probably actually am. But it works for me, what can I say? Oh, and a side note, you should never use a glass cutting board. Glass is horrible on knife edges. You may have already noticed that I'm using a chisel grind. Well, it's kind of a modified chisel grind. There is a micro bevel on both sides. The idea is to allow the flat end of one side of the blade right against the clean side of the leather and the beveled end be on the waste side. I'm not sure how much of that is actually going to matter, but we'll see in the end. One other addition I made to the edge was a very slight curve, and this will come in handy later. You'll see in the demo. Now after I was done with the glass, it was back to the clamp. I feel like I have more control here. I used a smaller file to hold steady the sandpaper as I went up through the higher grits. Again, the file kept my contact on the blade as flat as possible, and I worked that edge until it was shaven sharp. I'll save you the image of exactly where I tested the shapeability of this thing. Once it was all sharpened up, I took it for a test, and I was pleasantly surprised at how well it cut. You can see me pressing down thinking it was going to be harder than it was, but it sliced through that 3-ounce vegetan like butter. Exactly what I wanted to see. And that arc I mentioned before allows me to slightly roll the blade, slowly increasing the usability and surface area of that edge. Kinda like a pizza cutter combined with a razor blade. And you can see how well it does skiving right here. I'm definitely going to get a lot of use out of this puppy. And the chopping? It's like sliding a guillotine so cleanly through this 8-ounce piece of leather. I love it. I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with a few stills. But before you click away, if you liked the video, click that like button first. And leave me a comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, here are a few other videos you might find interesting. Link to the website down below, as well as the new Facebook group. Definitely check those out. Love to have you over. Lastly, my Amazon affiliate stores. Always tons of goodies there for you guys to sift through. Thanks again for sticking with me. You all have a great day, and I'll see you next Thursday.